They said he was finally free. They said the big BRR era was back and bigger than ever. On October 6, 2025, Pooh Shiesty walked out those federal gates after 3 long years, looking like a man who had been given a second chance at a billion-dollar legacy. But tonight, that legacy isn't just under fire. It's potentially over. Shocking new footage has just surfaced. Grainy, high-speed, and absolutely chaotic. The video allegedly shows a confrontation that erupted just weeks after Shiesty's release. And the victim? Reports are screaming that it's a high-ranking associate of EBG Jizzle, Shiesty's most bitter rival from the Memphis streets. In the clip, currently exploding across X and Telegram, you can see a blacked-out SUV, a flash of gunfire, and a figure that many are claiming matches the 1017 Star's exact build and movements. Is this the ultimate crash-out? Did the man who just escaped a 5-year federal sentence really throw it all away for a street grudge that refuses to die? The Memphis underground is currently in a state of absolute war. EBG Jizzle has already taken to Instagram Live with a message that has everyone on high alert, while Shiesty's camp remains eerily silent. We are talking about a potential life sentence, a violation of federal parole, and the spark that could ignite the deadliest month in Memphis history. Don't blink. Today, we are breaking down every frame of this footage, the hidden history behind the EBG beef, and the terrifying reality of what happens next. Is Pooh Shiesty heading back to the feds, or is this the most elaborate setup in hip-hop history? The truth is out there, and we're about to show you exactly what the cameras caught. Slow-motion footage of Pooh Shiesty walking out of the facility on October 6, 2025. He's wearing designer gear, flashing a massive diamond chain, and surrounded by 1017 associates. October 2025 was supposed to be the start of a new chapter. After 3 long years in the federal system, the back-in-blood superstar Pooh Shiesty was finally a free man. His attorney, Bradford Cohen, had pulled off what many thought was impossible, getting Shiesty out months ahead of his original April 2026 release date. The streets of Memphis were electric. His first single, FDO, First Day Out, was already climbing the Billboard charts, peaking at number 12 just last week. It looked like Shiesty was on a one-way flight back to the top of the rap game. But in the world of Memphis drill, freedom is often just another word for vulnerability. While the fans were celebrating, the ops were calculating. You see, the beef between Pooh Shiesty's Choppa Gang and EBG Entertainment Business Gang, led by EBG Jizzle, didn't stop just because Shiesty was behind bars. If anything, the distance made the resentment grow. And now, just as Shiesty was beginning to breathe the air of a free man, a video has surfaced that threatens to send him right back into a cell for the rest of his life. Transition to grainy, shaky cell phone footage. Use red circles to highlight a black SUV and a figure in a mask. Slow down the footage significantly. The footage in question, which first leaked on a private Telegram channel before spreading like wildfire across X, shows a chaotic scene in a dimly lit parking lot. It's the kind of video that makes your heart race. You see a black Cadillac Escalade pulling up slowly. Suddenly, the door flies open. A figure, tall, lean, and wearing what looks like a signature Shiesty mask, steps out. Within seconds, muzzle flashes light up the screen. The audio is a terrifying symphony of rapid-fire shots. The victim has been identified by local street sources as a close associate of EBG Jizzle, a man known on the streets as Lil Ra. The reports state that Ra was caught off guard while leaving a local lounge. But the real controversy isn't just the hit itself. It's the man behind the gun. Internet sleuths and street vloggers have spent the last 24 hours frame by framing this video. They point to the shooter's specific gait, that slight limp and the way he holds the firearm, claiming it matches Pooh Shiesty's movements perfectly. Even more damning, some claim the shooter is wearing a custom big BRR pendant that catches the light for a split second during the recoil. If this is true, we aren't just looking at a street beef. We are looking at the most high-profile crash-out in the history of modern hip-hop. Split screen showing EBG Jizzle's recent Instagram Live, where he looks visible upset/angry. The reaction from the EBG camp was almost instantaneous. EBG Jizzle, who has been Shiesty's most vocal rival for years, went on Instagram Live just hours after footage went viral. He didn't name names, he's too smart for that, but his message was crystal clear. He spoke about cowards hiding behind masks, and feds letting people out just to catch them again. The tension in his voice was palpable. For Jizzle, this isn't just about a lost homie. It's about a direct violation of the peace that many hoped would hold while Shiesty was on federal probation. Now, let's talk about the legal reality. Pooh Shiesty is currently on supervised release. That means he is under a microscope. His release conditions specifically state that he must refrain from possessing any firearms and must stay away from known gang associates. If the feds even suspect that the man in that video is Lontrell Williams Jr., they don't need a murder conviction to lock him up. A simple violation of supervised release could put him back in a federal pen for years while the investigation into the shooting unfolds. News clippings about Shiesty's previous 2020 shooting in Miami versus the new alleged footage. This brings us to the why. Why would Shiesty, a man with millions of dollars in the bank and a career that survived a 3-year prison stint, risk everything? To understand that, you have to understand the Memphis Code. In Shiesty's world, your reputation is your currency. During his time in the feds, as we discussed in our previous investigation, there were constant rumors that Shiesty was tucking or hiding. When a rapper comes home to those kinds of allegations, they often feel a desperate need to prove they are still active. Is it possible that this shooting was a calculated move to silence the doubters? To show EBG and the rest of the city that Big Shiesty is still the apex predator? Or is this a massive setup? Some legal experts are already weighing in, suggesting that the footage is too perfect. They argue that the shooter being so easily identifiable by his jewelry and movements points to a frame job. In a city like Memphis, where the beefs go back generations, it's not out of the realm of possibility that a rival would dress like Shiesty or wear a similar chain specifically to trigger a federal investigation. Graphics showing a timeline: October 6th release, December 12th, FDO release, January 10th, footage leaks. As of this recording, the Memphis Police Department has not officially named Pooh Shiesty as a suspect, but sources within the department say they are aware of the digital evidence circulating online. Shiesty's legal team, led by the powerhouse Bradford Cohen, has remained silent. No fake news posts, no denials, just a deafening silence that has the entire industry on edge. We are at a crossroads. If that footage is real, Pooh Shiesty has just committed career suicide. He has traded his gold records for a life sentence and his freedom for a moment of street revenge. But if it's a setup, or if the man in the mask is someone else, then we are witnessing the most dangerous game of clout warfare ever played. Music shifts to a darker, more somber tone. A dark, cinematic map of Memphis, Tennessee, red and blue markers highlighting North and South Memphis. The words Chopper Gang and EBG appear on opposite sides. To understand why this footage is shaking the very foundation of the rap world in 2026, you have to understand that in Memphis, a first day out isn't just a celebration, it's a target. For Pooh Shiesty, his release on October 6, 2025, was supposed to be his transition into the elite status his lawyer Bradford Cohen promised. But the streets of Memphis have a long memory, and the beef between Shiesty's Chopper Gang and EBG Entertainment Business Gang is written in blood, not just lyrics. The rivalry with EBG Jizzle isn't some manufactured internet drama for clout. It's a generational divide. Shiesty, hailing from South Memphis, and Jizzle, representing the North Side, have been the faces of a war that has claimed multiple lives over the last 5 years. While Shiesty was away in federal prison, the tension didn't simmer down. It boiled over. The death of Big Scar in 2022 and the rising violence in Fraser and South Memphis created a vacuum, and EBG Jizzle used that time to solidify his own reign. When Shiesty walked out of those gates 3 months ago, he didn't just walk into a record deal. He walked back into a battlefield. Newspaper clippings of past Memphis shootings and photos of EBG Jizzle and Pooh Shiesty side by side, with VS in the middle. The victim in the viral footage, identified as Lil Ra, wasn't just a random associate. Sources close to the situation say Ra was one of Jizzle's top soldiers, a man who was frequently seen in EBG music videos and was allegedly involved in several presses against Shiesty's camp while the 1017 star was locked up. In the streets, killing a homie of that stature is a direct declaration of war. It's not a warning shot. It's an attempt to dismantle the opposition's morale. But here is the most chilling part of the new footage narrative, the timing. Just days before this video surfaced, Pooh Shiesty and Glorilla were seen in the studio together, teasing a massive Memphis anthem. Shiesty was also celebrating his comeback single FDO, hitting the top 15 on the Billboard charts. He had everything to lose. So why now? Why? After surviving 3 years in the feds and coming home to millions, would he allegedly step out of a black SUV and pull a trigger himself? This brings us to the federal trap. There is a theory circulating in the underground that the feds didn't just release Shiesty early because of good behavior. Some skeptics believe he was placed under such heavy surveillance that they were practically waiting for him to trip up. If Shiesty is the person in that video, he didn't just fall into a street trap. He fell into a legal one. Supervised release in the federal system is like walking on a tightrope made of razor wire. You can't be around felons. You can't be around guns, and you certainly can't be in the vicinity of a homicide. Zoom in on the figure in the footage. Compare the shooter's big BRR chain with high-res photos of Shiesty's actual $100,000 chain he bought upon release. Look closely at the 045 mark of the leaked footage. The shooter isn't just wearing a mask. He's moving with a level of confidence that suggests he wants to be recognized. In the world of crash-out culture, there's a dangerous new trend where rappers feel they have to prove they haven't gone soft in prison. During Shiesty's time in the feds, the internet was flooded with exposed videos claiming he was hiding in protective custody. The narrative being pushed by the streets right now is that Shiesty felt he had to reclaim his crown by doing the unthinkable. If Lil Ra was indeed the one mocking Shiesty's prison status on social media over the last year, then this alleged hit wasn't just about territory. It was about pride. And in Memphis, pride is more expensive than any diamond chain. Screenshot of a cryptic tweet from a Memphis police insider or a local news reporter. However, we have to look at the EBG Jizzle response more closely. Jizzle didn't just go live to mourn. He went live to sign off. In the street world, signing off on a situation means acknowledging that the debt has been paid or that the response is coming. His silence on the identity of the shooter, despite the internet naming Shiesty, suggests that this is going to be handled in the streets, not in the courtroom. But the courtroom is exactly where Shiesty might end up. Even as we speak, digital forensics teams are likely dissecting that footage. They aren't just looking at the mask. They are looking at cell tower pings. They are looking at the GPS on that black SUV. They are looking at Shiesty's own social media activity from that night. In 2026, you can't just disappear after a drill. Every doorbell has a camera, and every pocket has a tracking device. A montage of Shiesty's Back in Blood video, transitioning into the grainy crime scene tape from the new footage. If the feds pick him up based on this footage, the headline won't be Pooh Shiesty arrested. The headline will be the end of the 1017 era. With Gucci Mane already facing the loss of several artists to legal issues and tragedies, Shiesty was the last great hope for the label's dominance. If he's gone, the movement he started, the masks, the Shiesty season, the big BRR culture, becomes a memorial rather than a movement. As we move into part 3, we're going to look at the witness statements that are starting to leak from the scene. We're going to hear from people who claimed they saw the SUV hours before the shooting. And most importantly, we're going to address the deepfake theory, the possibility that this entire video was manufactured using AI to frame the biggest rapper in Memphis. Music, sudden stop, sound of a heart beating. The stakes have never been higher. Is Shiesty a cold-blooded killer who couldn't leave the streets alone, or is he the victim of a high-tech frame job designed to put him back in a cage forever? A cinematic shot of the Memphis skyline at night. Suddenly, the screen glitches and displays a federal wanted poster graphic that fades into a photo of Pooh Shiesty's ankle monitor. The date is January 2026. Only 3 months have passed since Pooh Shiesty walked out of federal prison, and the world is already asking, is it over before it even began? In Part 1 and 2, we looked at the shocking footage and the blood-soaked history of the EBG versus Choppa gang war. But now we have to look at the end game. In the federal system, there is no such thing as a clean slate. When Shiesty was released early on October 6, 2025, he didn't just walk into freedom. He walked into a cage with invisible bars called supervised release. As of right now, the most damning piece of evidence isn't just a video of the shooting. It's the digital breadcrumbs. You see, in 2026, the feds don't just watch you through cameras. They watch you through your data. Reports have surfaced that the black SUV seen in the Lil Ross shooting was allegedly a rental linked to a shell company often used by 1017 associates. If the feds can link that vehicle to Shiesty's location via his ankle monitor or cell tower pings, it won't matter if he was the one pulling the trigger or just sitting in the passenger seat. Under federal law, being present at the scene of a violent crime while on supervised release is an automatic ticket back to a cell. Close-up of the viral footage. We see the shooter's wrist. A diamond watch glints in the streetlight. Transition to an old photo of Shiesty wearing a similar watch. But let's talk about this setup theory. Why would a man who just hit number 12 on the Billboard charts with FDO First Day Out risk it all? Some people in the Memphis underground are calling foul. They argue that the timing is too perfect. EBG Jizzle and his crew knew that Shiesty was under the heaviest surveillance of his life. If you wanted to eliminate your biggest rival without firing a single shot yourself, how would you do it? You would bait them. You would insult their dead homies, mock their hiding in prison, and lure them into a situation where a camera is already waiting. There are whispers that the new footage wasn't leaked by a random bystander, but was professionally dropped to ensure it went viral. The goal? To force the hand of the U.S. Marshals. In a city where snitching is the ultimate sin, using the internet to dry snitch has become the new weapon of choice. If EBG can get Shiesty sent back for life on a parole violation, they win the war without losing another soldier. Screenshot of YouTube comments and tweets debating real or fake, AI or Shiesty. And then there's the AI factor. We are living in 2026. Deepfake technology has reached a point where you can simulate a person's walk, their height, and even the way they hold a gun. Could this footage be the first AI assassination of a rap career? Some of Shiesty's most loyal fans are convinced the video is a high-tech fabrication. They point to the big BRR chain in the video, claiming the physics of the jewelry don't match the recoil of the gun. But while the internet debates the pixels, the Memphis Police Department and the FBI are looking at the ballistics. If the shell casings found at the scene of Lil Ross' death match a weapon used in any previous Choppa gang activity, the AI theory goes out the window. This is the reality Shiesty is facing. He is a man caught between two worlds. The high-rise luxury studio where he just finished a song with Glorilla and the dark alleys of South Memphis that refuse to let him go. A slow, somber montage of the 1017 roster, Big Scar R.I.P., Fujiano incarcerated, and finally Pooh Shiesty. What does this mean for Gucci Mane and 1017? Gucci has spent millions on legal fees, try and keep his prodigy on the right path. He even released a 2026 loaded collab to signal that the label was back on top. But if Shiesty is indicted for this new shooting, it's the end of an era. It proves that no matter how much money you have, you cannot outrun the Memphis curse. It's the same story we've seen with Young Dolph, the same tragedy we saw with the O'Block generation in Chicago. The streets are a vacuum. They don't care about your billboard plaques. They only care about their tax. A final look at the footage, slowing down until it freezes on the shooter's masked face. The screen turns red. As we close this investigation, the world waits for an official statement. Will Bradford Cohen pull another legal miracle out his hat? Or will the Back in Blood rapper find himself back in the feds, this time with no early release in sight? The viral footage of the killing of EBG Jizzle's homie might be the final frame of Pooh Shiesty's career. Or it might be the start of the most high-profile murder trial 2026 has ever seen. The streets of Memphis are quiet tonight, but it's the kind of quiet that comes before a storm. The big BRR might have just turned into a final goodbye. Now that we've laid out all the evidence, the grainy footage, the EBG rivalry, and the heavy shadow of the feds, the question is no longer just about a video. It's about the soul of Memphis rap. Is Pooh Shiesty a victim of a high-tech setup designed to end his career, or did the streets finally reclaim the man who just tried to escape them? We've seen artists come home and change their lives, but we've also seen the crash out culture claim the brightest stars in the game. If the feds move in on this footage, 2026 will go down as the year the big BRR era officially went silent. But what do you think? I want to see the comments section on fire for this one. Was that Shiesty in the mask, or is this the most elaborate AI frame job in history? If you think Shiesty is innocent and being targeted by his rivals, drop a snake and type "Free Shiesty" below. If you think he finally went too far and threw it all away, let us know why in the comments. If you want to stay updated on this case as it unfolds, because you know the feds or his legal team will be making a move any minute now, make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications. We are tracking every lead, every leak, and every statement. Don't forget to hit that like button if you want more deep dives into the Memphis underground. The truth is coming, and you'll hear it here first. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next breakdown.